Everybody, it's Jose, and I wanted to make this video to talk about the Tensor Robocar, which really caught my eye so much that I had to come back and make a video about it because I really do have a lot of thoughts on it. So I really want to go into as much detail as I can about this car and also really just think about and speculate about the future of autonomous cars. So I'm going to be doing that. And one thing that really caught my eye in wanting me to make this video was that this car wants to basically come out as a consumer product that you can buy in the year 2026, which is next year. And when I heard about that, I was really confused because one, to my knowledge, this car became very mainstream about 2 weeks ago. So all the news about this car debuting and all the news coverage and whatever you have about that. So that really caught my eye that you can announce this car in August 2025 and expect to debut within the next year. Not only that, but it's going to be competing with the Tesla Cybercab if it does come out next year, 2026, or even maybe 2027. Nobody really knows. But even so, even if it does come out at the same time as the Cybercab, I think that's really interesting. So really, I want to make this video talking about the Tensor Robocar as a standalone product, compare it to other autonomous cars such as the Cybercab, and just really think about the future of autonomous cars because I think autonomous cars are very cool, and it's one of those things that mankind has been thinking about for a very long time. And although we do have robocars today with Waymos and whatnot, I think within the next 5 years, we will be seeing a lot more robocars out in the street, and it will just become the new norm, just like AI chatbots became the new norm up about 3 years ago or so. So we're going to be talking about that. So I'm going to be basically looking at the website because it basically has the same amount of information as this video right here. The first three are about just the car, just basic commercial promo videos about the car, which are pretty nice. But this video in itself, it's about 2 hours long, and it goes into very, very good detail about the car. It provides numbers. It shows some few basic demonstrations and whatnot. But although I would have covered this video after just reading the website, I watched the video first and then checked out the website. I found all of my talking points that I wanted to talk about in this video are all basically here on the website. So we're going to be looking at the website instead. So one more thing about this video right here, about the 2 hour long video, I highly encourage you to, one, watch this video if you really want to get into great detail about the car, because it will practically explain everything you want to know about the car. And two, check out this website because it contains pretty much the same amount of information as the video. And it's easier to digest, of course, in web page format. But about that, I seriously encourage you to, at the very minimum, just check out the website because I think it's a really cool website with a lot of cool information. So this is an L4 autonomous cars. Now, there's level 0 through level 5, and I won't explain all of them. But at the bare minimum, you need about a level 4 autonomous car or a level 4 car to be autonomous. And a level 5 car is full autonomy without limitations, and L4 just means a car that can drive itself, but it has some form of limitations. And level 5 is just basically a car with no limits, basically like a human. So these are some key talking points that we will be talking about throughout the video. So of course, level 4 autonomy, an AI agent that is private. So basically that means an AI that can do things. Basically, the car can drive itself and do other things as well. Private AI, meaning the AI is all localized to the car, not only in driving, of course, but also any conversational AI. So you can talk to the car and it will respond to you, all processed locally on the car, which I think is really cool. Advanced sensors, it does have high quality equipment and also a lot of them. It has about 100 plus sensors. Well, we'll talk about them too. A supercomputer to, of course, get all the data from the sensors and also make this car compute all its conversational and driving on the car, and just a lot of features that this car has that really just baffles me. It really did blow me away. Of course, coming out in about 2026. Okay, true level 4 autonomy. So with a self-driving car, you want it to do everything, right? You want it to drive, park, self everything, which is basically what you would want in this car and any other level 4 cars. I think the interior is really cool. We will go over that as well. Now, here's something that I didn't really expect to see, but it's here anyway. So in level 4 mode, which is the maximum this car can have, it handles all driving within approved zones, no supervision needed. Outside the zones, just take the wheel or switch to assisted driving for basically smooth driving and control. Now, I guess I can talk about this now because we will talk about everything else that comes after that. So let's see if we can make I don't think it's going to show. Okay. So there is a steering wheel on this car. I guess, just put up an image. This car has a steering wheel, and in place, it also has a screen that can move from the middle to where the steering wheel is. And what this is basically saying is that it can only self-drive in approved zones. So that's what makes it level 4 autonomy, is that it has limitations, this being region-based limitations. And if it was a level 5 car, it wouldn't have these approved zones. It would just drive on its own. So you have a car that you can buy that in an approved zone. So let's say like Los Angeles, New York, every other very populated place, it can drive itself. If you reach an area that is outside an approved zone, you will have a steering wheel that you will need to use to navigate the car. And at the very minimum, I think it can also be level 3 in an outside zone. So you could still use all the sensors and whatnot to make your driving experience safer, which is, of course, what you would want, especially if you have a car with all these advanced sensor data. You would want the car to help you drive it if you are driving it manually. So about the screen of where it shifts from the middle to where the steering wheel is, I think that's a really cool feature. I think it's visually pleasing how it just shifts from the middle and just goes into right in front of the driver's seat and takes its place of the steering wheel. And also the pedals of the car are retractable. I think that's a really cool feature. I think it visually looks nice. Now, something else it has is just the high quality equipment it has, which is the LiDAR equipment. There's a lot to say about the equipment itself, but I guess a key talking point that they have in the video and on the website is that the LiDAR equipment has a lot more, I guess, pixels that it can detect and register in the real world that is significantly more than, for example, a Waymo that has LiDAR equipment. So I think that's just cool that they're putting high quality equipment on this car. I don't know if it's the best of the best, but from what I can see, it is pretty good equipment, and it is hopefully good enough for an outside approved zone, which I would hope that it doesn't have, but from the website, it does say it has. So I'm just thinking to myself, if you really have high quality equipment like the one you're putting in your car, I wonder what really are the limitations that really have to make you have an approved zone. So even if you have the best LiDAR equipment on this car, and there are still limitations for approved driving zones for L4 driving autonomy, I just wonder then what was the point of high quality LiDAR equipment? But I guess that's just a very technical answer that I'm not really sure would overcome that. But even so, that's just something to think about. Small talking point, this car can also have its wheels turn in different directions, if I'm not mistaken. So this can go this way, this can go that way, this can go that way, this can go this way, and whatnot. And I think that's pretty necessary for a car that can drive itself, even though it can just have, the traditional one-directional steering. I think that it's cool that an autonomous car can have Steering that can be very precise, because that means that one, it has potentially better control of the car, but two, if your car is automatically parking itself into a tighter structure, if I'm not mistaken, having all your wheels turn in a certain direction that are independent of each other, it just makes parking into that little spot just easier. Even if it didn't have autonomous driving, I do know that a few cars do have a similar feature where the car wheels turn independently, and it does make parking easier. So I just think that's cool. Now, I think this is a funny visual that they have, because one, if I'm not mistaken, this appears to be a AI generated image. Not that there's anything wrong with using it in an AI generated image, but I just think that it's funny overall. You can just tell from one, the quality of it, which is good for being AI, of course, but you can see that everybody's eyes and face is basically in the same position. Not only that, but they're using a high focal length to take these images. Well, the AI, right? So a video call doesn't look this tight, this compressed in background and subject. It doesn't look like that. And even if it did, you can just tell that's an AI generated image, which is fine, of course. But I just thought it's really funny, because in the video and on the website, there appear to be like a few more AI generated image, which I just think it's funny. I don't really think it really means anything. Also about this, you can see that there is a camera right here with a physical privacy shutter, and I just think that's, I guess, cool that there are cameras in the car, of course, because it provides a lot of functions, which I will talk about in a minute, but also that there is a privacy shutter. I just think that it's a good feature to have, especially if you want to be on the go in your car driving itself and take a Zoom call. I guess you can do it in this car, even though your phone or a laptop would suffice. Also, we can talk about the screens. The screens itself are unique because they use OLED screens, which, if you know, look great, have great colors, but also have the risk of burn-in. And if you look at a Tesla, the Tesla screens that they have inside interior of the car, those are LCD, which are fine. Like, you're not really using the LCD screen on a Tesla for, I don't know, high quality movie watching or gaming or really anything, or even having an OLED versus LCD screen on your car. It's not going to make navigation better or anything. It could save some battery, but I highly doubt that it would be enough. So having OLED screens in your car, these are, I think, 11 inches or so, which is about the size of a tablet, like a Samsung tablet and whatnot, which is fine. It didn't need to be like 24 inches or anything. I just think that it's interesting that it does have OLED rather than LCD. And if you're in a Zoom call for a prolonged amount of time, or driving for a prolonged amount of time or anything, I would think about any of these icons burning into the screen. But then I thought to myself, for that to really happen, you really need to use the screen for a prolonged amount of time in one session. And it could be, you could just be going on a car ride for about 5 minutes to a store, or even an hour to get to work, or a road trip, 2 hours. I don't think burn-in really will happen. I think, well, it depends on heat and brightness. That's really what causes burn-in. But even if you drive for 1 hour maximum and you have icons like this on your navigation or music, I think it should be fine. But at the same time, I don't really know. So, of course, we talked about the sensors outside and inside the car. And another part I wanted to talk about was, how there was a camera right here? Well, there's plenty of these inside the car. I'm not sure if all of them have a privacy shutter, but I imagine the ones right in front of you will have a privacy shutter, and on the side and whatnot. Mostly the ones in front, because you're not going to take a video call using the side camera. I don't think that would be possible. But even if it did, more privacy shutters, the better. Now, something that this car has that I was like, why does this car really need to have that? Even though it's cool, I'm like, why is this a thing? So when you hop into the car, it would use the cameras inside the car to do a face biometric scan and load up your driver profile. For example, if you and, for example, your spouse share this car, you would open the car door and you or your spouse would hop into the car, and the cameras would scan your face, and basically whatever face it scans, so you or your spouse's, it will load up the driver or passenger profile. So for example, let's say you have a profile with your own Spotify account, Netflix account, driving preference, whatever, right? It would scan your face, it would load specifically your profile, and if your spouse goes in the car, it would specifically load your spouse's profile for Spotify accounts, Netflix, whatever. I think that would be the case. I just thought that was a really cool feature that I'm not sure will become mainstream, because it does rely on specifically having a very powerful computer to scan your face. I know it's not going to take too much computational power to really do that. I'm pretty sure AI 4 could potentially do facial recognition with pretty good accuracy, just by taking in camera input and not. I don't think the car has an infrared sensor to scan your face, so I think it will be fine. But I'm just saying, I just really wonder if any other cars will have this feature. Okay, so let's get into all the sensors. So there are about over 100 sensors. I counted them up. Let's see where I have it. It has about 118 sensors, and they pretty much list them all here. So it has 37 cameras, which would be this one. It has 5 LiDAR related cameras or sensors. It has, it can also clean itself using wipers. It has radar, 10 Ultrix, 22 microphones, which is right here, 10 ultrasonic sensors, GNS system, 3 inertia measurement units, 16 collision detectors, 8 water level detectors, 4 tire pressure sensors, and 1 smoke detector. Yes, this car has a smoke detector inside the cabin, which is good. But I just thought that's also really funny that a car has a smoke detector. You would have thought that cars for, I guess, the past 20 years could have a smoke detector inside the car, because it is a very basic technology that did improve, I think, within the past 10 years. But yeah, this car has a smoke detector, which I thought was pretty funny. So this car has so much equipment. It has 37 cameras, like phone cameras, on the car, which is a lot, and 22 related microphone cameras, which is also a lot. Now, there is something special about the cameras and sensors that it has. Of course, this being very highly precise. I forgot the number they used. There you go. 25.6 million beams, which is pretty high for a LiDAR sensor, I guess. And it has, I thought this was really interesting, 17 megapixel cameras. So I'm going to put up the text so you don't get confused. 17 megapixel cameras. Now, you might be saying to yourself, is that really important? My phone has 200 megapixels or 50 megapixels, but this is a car we're talking about, so it's different. For example, a Tesla has 5 megapixel cameras, which is okay. It's definitely better than the 2 megapixels or so that we're using not too long ago, but 5 megapixels is okay for a Tesla right now. But really, you would want something higher, like 17. I think the sweet spot should be about 24. I don't think cars will have higher than 24 megapixels for camera sensors in any time, because some, like, just consumer cameras, like I'm talking about the DSLRs and whatnot, those are about 24 megapixels roughly. So I'm really thinking to myself, you don't really need anything higher than 24 megapixels. But 17 is pretty good, because 17 allows you to have better clarity, which is something you definitely want in a car. You want it to see about 2 streetlights ahead of you, just so that it can make better inferences and whatnot. And if it could see a hazard, basically while you're at a stoplight, and it can see the stoplight ahead of it, and it sees some sort of hazard or detour or anything that doesn't show up on a map. I think that that's really beneficial if it can pull that off with 17 megapixels. If you need 24 to do that, then I guess you needed 24 megapixels to do that. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, this entire video is, of course, diving into speculation and my thoughts, but I really just wanted to know what sensor they're using, 17 megapixels, just so that we can get a better idea of what the capabilities of the sensors is. So I'm not sure if this is the exact sensor, but this is a Sony sensor that is for automotive use, and it's 17 megapixels, which is the same amount as the ones that they're using on the car. And in the video, it does says that they're using Sony sensors. So we get to see that the effective size of this is right here, type 1/1.17 inch, which for a car, I think should be fine. I do wonder about type 1 inch sensors for cars, like we do for some phones. But this is a slightly bigger sensor. I think it's about 10% bigger or so than the ones that they're currently using for a lot of phones, like the Vivo X200 Ultra uses a 1/1.28 type inch sensor, which is pretty fine. iPhones also use that same size. Samsung's use a similar size to the ones I just said for the iPhone and Vivo. If you see in this demonstration here, this is an 8 megapixel sensor, and this is a 17 megapixel sensor. You can see on this sign, I know it's hard to see, it says exit, that the car can, at the very least, has a chance of interpreting and seeing, and also this sign that says 40 kilometers per hour. I think it would be kilometers. And on this 8 megapixel sensor, you don't see that. You don't see the posted sign, and you don't see the exit. Now, that's useful for a car that's navigating itself with outdated or no map navigation data at all. But if the car did have it, you wouldn't really necessarily need to see this, because the car, if properly configured with its navigation data, would already know the posted speed and the exit and the related information. Well, I just think that if they do use its sensor, it's, I guess, interesting at the very least, in terms of what it has, and that it's a 2023 sensor. Not that it matters. But yeah, slightly bigger than your iPhone sensor. That's what they're using, 17 megapixels for this car, and 17 of those 17 megapixels. So I just think that's interesting. Now, another cool feature that this car has is that it has a lot of cleaning equipment for the equipment itself. So it has a cleaning function that just sprays a nozzle. It has a nozzle that sprays water that will clean the sensors. It has a wipe to get the water residue out the sensor glass. It has pretty good anti-flare glass, which you would need so that the car can navigate itself with high UV times of the day, which is usually midday. It has a defroster, which I've actually thought about for the Tesla Cybercab. When I heard that the Tesla Cybercab might have, is pretty likely to have limitations, especially during snow and whatnot, when the sensors are frosted up because of the glass. So I just think that it has all this equipment that should basically come to Waymo's, Tesla Cybercabs, and basically every autonomous cars. It should have these functions so that the car can basically, at the very minimum, avoid environmental obstacles such as dust, snow, rain, temperature with fogging. So I just think that it's cool and really nice to see that it can be done. You can put all this cleaning equipment on the car, and I'm pretty impressed by it. So we have a lot of information to talk about how the car is agentic, an agentic AI. So for me to explain just in basic layman's terms, for an AI to be agentic means that it can perform some sort of task on your behalf. So, for example, the easiest thing I can think of is you have a whole bunch of AIs like Gemini, Chat GPT that can make a report for you. For example, let's say you wanted to research a report about AI itself, autonomous cars, and if there's been any crashes with autonomous cars, how much funding has gone into autonomous cars by Waymo, Tesla, uh, um, just basically anything you want to know about autonomous cars. You can tell ChatGPT or Gemini, hey, make this report for me on autonomous cars, and it will go out, search and index websites and make the report for you. So that's just a basic example of how the car could be agentic, because it's doing something for you on your behalf and interacts with digital space or even the real world. So this car is an AI agent. Now, I'm thinking to myself with the examples they have. So this one says, pick up mom from her house and bring her here. Drop me off at the airport and then return home. Pick me up from the office and whatnot. And this one blew my mind as well. Open that door. Now, what makes this impressive, if it can do this off, is that it specifically needs to know context. It needs to know basically, what are you talking about? Especially with open that door. What door are you talking about? Are you talking about this front door? Are you talking about this door? Or are you talking about the door that's on the other side? Which door? And even just basically anything else. Roll down that window. It has to know what you're talking about. And with these examples, it has to know who you are, where the specific airport is, and then where is home. So, like I said earlier in the video, if you have multiple people driving this car or using this car, for example, you and your spouse, when you say "drop me off at the airport," it has to think about, are you or are you someone else like your spouse, which it can do using facial biometrics, but for it to just know that, I think that's pretty cool. Now, there is a word, I did write that down. What did I call it? I'll have it right here as well. I'm not sure where I wrote it in my notes, but that's the term. Oh, there you go. Dietic reasoning. I think that's how you say it. Dietic reasoning is just basically what we described. Open that door, drop me off, return me home. It has to know all of these specific terms, because home and house can mean anything. It has to know belonging, it has to know context, and if it can do this, I think that's really interesting. Now, this part is one, very impressive, but also just very funny to me, and it's honestly a big flex if you think about it. So, something that you can do is that you see this chat right here, chat button. Okay, so you can talk to your car, which honestly, I don't know, just blows my mind. I know Grok integration into Teslas. Yes, you can talk to your car, but in some way, as the same way you can talk to your phone, where you just pull up, let's say, Gemini Live and talk to your phone like that. That's impressive in itself. But it's just weird that you can literally say, yeah, I'm just texting my car to come pick me up, because that's the purpose of talking to your car. You're going to text your car or use a voice command, kind of like a phone call, to tell your car basically what you want it to do. So you can use a text command or a voice command, again, like a phone call, and tell your car, pick me up from the airport, pick up mom from her house, bring her here. You can text your car to do this, and that's what makes it agentic. So you can be at the office, and your car can be at the office parking lot, and you can text your car, pick up mom from her house and bring her here. So you're going to text your car that your car is going to automatically leave the parking lot, go to your mom's house, and only allow your mom to enter the car, and then bring her to where you're at, the office. I just think that's Of course, really impressive, highly impressive, but also just funny that you can text your car. I'm not gonna get over that. Yeah, I'm just casually just texting my car on what to do. Impressive, a flex, but also I just think that's really funny. Another part I wonder about texting your car is what level of deep integration, if it even is a deep integration, can you go with texting the car? So of course you can say like probably like roll down the window right now or whatnot, or even just do that right here, or just text your car to do it. But I wonder if you can text it very specific commands. For example, if you can make routines with the car, such as every Wednesday, I want you to roll down the windows at 4 p.m. Roll down the windows by like 20% or 10%. Because if you are able to do something like that, I think that provides a lot more functionality with the car that actually makes sense. If you're gonna text your car like you text a human, you would hope that it can perform those tasks like the ones I described. But I also wonder if it can do things automatically. So, like I said, with routines. So, if you can give it a routine example of it, every time I enter the car, I want you to automatically engage level 4 autonomy and open up the Netflix app as soon as I enter the car and the ride starts. I wonder if it can do that, because if it can do that, then the car is very agentic, which you would want to happen if you're buying a car like this. The car also has cool features outside the car. So one thing it has is that it has a palm activated door access point that basically scans your hand, just scans the veins in your hand, which somehow has a unique ID, kind of like a fingerprint. It's been a thing in other things. For example, there's a few LG phones that have a Palm ID feature where you can use your palm to unlock your phone, just like you can use your palm on the side of the pillar right here, between the front and back doors, to open your car, which I honestly think is a nice feature to have. And that also reminded me of, there's a Huawei smart door lock that basically has the same thing. And I think it has a keypad, but you can also use your palm to unlock the door, which I think is honestly really awesome and very practical. So it is a very nice feature to have on this car, but it also makes you wonder about, Teslas and other cars. You have a key fob and you have an app that you can unlock the car door with, which are both very cool. Well, not cool, but just practical. It's cool that you can unlock your car with your phone, though. But this Palm ID feature, I would like to see in other cars, just because it's very nice to have feature. I honestly think it's impressive. I like this feature. Now, something that this car has is trademark terms. Now, I'm not really going to go onto a tangent with trademark terms, but something that I really dislike is that when they go on iPhone, basically, or Apple related like trademark terms. So you have like dynamic island on an iPhone. That's a just really unnecessary term for a specific feature that is probably overlooked all the time on a phone, on the iPhone. And you have other things on this car like palm read, which is fine as a trademark terms. But then this is really why I wanted to talk about trademark terms. Car emoji. I this car is very Apple-like. So you have Carmoji, which is a term, a trademark term, I guess, because it's trademarked, for a matrix dot display, or RGB mini LED display. That's basically like a matrix, that just displays information. For example, pedestrian crossing. So it can tell a pedestrian at a crosswalk to, it's safe to cross. You're telling the pedestrian to cross. I'm thinking that it can display other information. I'm not really sure what other information it would display. Maybe a warning if someone's trying to break into your car or something. Maybe it can say something. I don't know. But this is practically the only main purpose this car has, so that it can communicate information to pedestrians, and I I guess really that's it. I'm not really sure what else. Oh, I'm thinking to as a welcome screen when you're sharing the car with someone else. It could probably do that. I'm not really sure, but yeah, carmoji. And then I started thinking about, is this really a trademark term? So I went looking into it. The closest thing I could find was under this one. I don't see where. So I found it Rev Institute Incorporated for Carmoji. And I just really wanted to figure out who has Carmoji as a trademark terms. And there are a few owners, some abandoned and expired. But this one is related to this group, which is an automotive group, which I was just thinking to myself, why would you really need to use Carmoji at all? And I honestly don't know. They don't seem to be related to the Tensor Auto Group, but I just thought it was interesting that it did have Carmoji at all, just as a registered term. And why does why does Tensor Auto have it? Well, just to describe and talk about this one feature, which is just an outside display for your car with a light around it, a headlight, which I guess it's fine, but this car is very Apple-esque, and this is what really set it off for me. This is also something that set off the Apple trademark sort of rant that I had, is that this car, I saw this first in a video, it uses a term that I've never ever heard used outside Apple related presentations and documentations. And that word is right here, secure enclave. Now, if you've seen Apple presentations and familiar with Apple specific terms, you might have heard of secure enclave before. If you haven't, I don't blame you. It really isn't that important. When I first heard this in the video, I really thought to myself, wait, is Apple related to this car in any way? From what I see, it doesn't look like Apple's related to this car. But the fact that they're using secure enclave, I thought to myself, isn't that a trademark term? So I went looking to see if it's trademarked, and if you just search up secure enclave, it doesn't really show anything related to Apple trademarking this term. And I thought, well, I guess problem solved, right? It's not a trademark term for whatever reason, even though their documentation would imply otherwise. If you know anything about Apple, if they capitalize words like this, secure enclave, the same way they do with HomePod, iPad, Mac, because these are trademarked terms and products themselves. So you would think that something like this would be trademarked, but to some degree, it doesn't seem that it is. So I was like, okay, it's not trademarked. End of story. And then you go into this Wikipedia page, which talks about TEE, which is basically, it's just basically saying how a security chip on a phone or a computer, in this case the car, just keeps information private and safe from being leaked to a hacker, which is basically what they use right here, TEE. And it's basically saying how it's going to save your face biometric data and palm biometric data from being stolen over the internet or even physical access, especially physical access. So I just thought that, where else is secure enclave used? And you go down here, you see a whole bunch of companies and the products that they're using related to TEE. And you see right here, Apple, secure enclave. And then I thought to myself, okay, so is it actually a trademark term or not? And then you go into this website that just has a whole bunch of terms related to cybersecurity, and then they talk about secure enclave in a non-trademarked perspective. And if you read this, it doesn't really seem like anything specific to Apple. It just seems like it just seems like an implementation of Secure Enclave as a system of, I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it doesn't seem that Secure Enclave itself is just trademark, even though it is an Apple specific product. I just don't understand this, but either way, Secure Enclave, never thought I would hear it from a company other than Apple. Now, if you have an iPhone that has Face ID, you've probably seen this symbol before. It's a Face ID symbol. And something that has always baffled me, because this isn't the first time I've seen it, is that there are symbols and there are some products and apps that use basically a Face ID logo that is practically one-to-one to what you see right here, which to my knowledge was first used by Apple. So right here you see Face ID owned by Apple Incorporated. And then you go into the trademark term. This isn't the trademark term. Let me find the trademark term. Okay, so you go into the trademark term, which is right here, Face ID. This is used specific. Here's the logo. This is used specifically by Apple Incorporated. But at the same time, if you go into, let's see where I have it. If you go into something like Icon Noir, which I have talked about before, it's really cool. You have Face ID right here as a free and open source, and I think commercial free, just logo, if I'm not mistaken. So one of two things. One is that Apple just made this, I guess, not generic, but the same way you have a Facebook logo and an Instagram logo that you can use as an icon. I guess you have one as Face ID related to application use. I think that's the case, but I think that's only related to an Apple specific environment, such as, if you are selling an app or have an app listed on the Apple App Store and you need to use a symbol in any way, I think that's the only real context you can use this in a commercial product. And the fact that they're using it here, well, it looks very similar. It might not be one-to-one. I think the eyes are different and even the corners. But even so, I just think it's interesting that in a lot of products you use related to facial biometrics, it's specifically this design where the eyes look like that, the nose, the corners, the fact that it's a square. I think it's interesting, not just in Tensor, but in other examples that they use specifically a symbol that has the likeness to a trademark term by Apple. And it's not like a circle or just like a different shape, even though this and a circle is the only shape you can get related to Face ID. But I just think that it's, I just wonder why they used specifically a symbol like this, and like other apps also use a symbol like this. Now, here's probably one of the most important parts of the car, besides the LiDAR sensors and whatnot, is the actual computer itself. So this says that it has 8,000 tera operations per second, or 8 TOPS of GPU computing power. And when I first saw this, I thought I missaw what it said. I thought it said teraflops and not TOPS, because TOPS is a term I have not heard before until I watched the Tensor Car video. And after digging a little bit, I honestly wonder how powerful an 8,000 tera operations per second supercomputer is. But from what the video made it seem is that they compared it to a $70,000 NVIDIA server chip that is used for specifically AI. And when you use this term, TOPS, it is specifically only related to AI. It's not related to, for example, gaming or anything other than AI use. So I really thought to myself, if this has this number, which I'm not sure really what it means, what is the closest thing I can find that is also a really powerful chip that is, probably comparable to this? And I thought, how many TOPS does the 5090 have in RTX 5090? And from what I see, it has about 840 tops, which is 10 times less than this. But at the same time, I also thought, well, a 5090 isn't made for the same thing as this Tensor card. A 5090 is made for gaming and studio productivity applications, and this specifically is related to AI compute so that the car can drive itself. Same thing that you have a NVIDIA CMP-HX chip, which is the crypto mining chips that they use. That is obviously not going to do well at gaming at all, but it will excel in mathematical computations so that it can solve transactions on the blockchain. So I thought to myself, just as a fun thought, if you could put Cyberpunk 2077 on this card, because that's a pretty demanding game, how would it do compared to, just any modern RTX NVIDIA chip? So would this be as good as a NVIDIA 5050, or maybe something like 4050 or anything like that? I'm not really sure. But it is just something to think about, that this excels in automotive related applications. Of course, that's what it was made for. But at the same time, it has to process all of that sensor data. Now, I'm not going to read to you all the sensors it has, but it has a lot of cameras. It has high quality LiDAR equipment, not sonar, radar, ultrasonic sensors. It has microphones, like 22 of them. It has a lot of input that it needs to process, especially high quality input. 17 megapixel cameras is quite a lot. And it has to merge all these frames and merge all this information to make inferences on how to navigate. So this, not sure how much this specifically costs, but I'm sure this supercomputer makes up a big amount of how much this car costs, because putting in all that sensor data, it really is going to take a lot of computational power. Now, something related to computing all that power, or computing all that data and requiring a lot of power to do so, is how much range does this car actually have? Now, I think it says somewhere on this website, but I have the number. It has 250 miles of EPA driving or range. But then when you really think about that, you also have to remember that this car is capable of L0 through L4 driving, and the number they gave out, 250 miles of EPA range, which I'm not even sure what that really means. It's probably in L0 mode, and it's probably has no, it's not utilizing the sensors at all. Probably, that's just a guess, but that's probably where they got the 250 from. So if you put this car into L4 driving, how many miles of range will this car have? Well, a Waymo has about 130 miles of range in its car. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is a relatively new car, but at the same time, it has a lot of sensors. It has 100 plus sensors. It has a really powerful computer, and this car just has a lot of features, such as an on-device local agentic car, that if you speak any commands to, or if you text your car, that all that processing is going to be on the car itself. It's not going on the cloud where it's being processed and that information is being forwarded to your car. No, all that, from what I know, is processed locally on your car, which is also impressive. But as you also know, car has a lot of computational power, and with a lot of computational power comes, power use. So I'm just throwballing that this car probably has about 80 through 100 miles of L4 driving. That's just a completely random guess, but after looking into the 100 plus sensors, agentic AI, and everything this car has, it's probably that range, or even the range of the Waymo, about 120 miles and 130 miles, which is fine for a car that has approved zones, but you obviously want your car to drive as long as possible and have as many miles in its range as possible. Something cool and unique that this car has is the mirrors on the car are actually digital screens. Now, when I first thought about this, I really thought to myself, is this even legal? Can you have a replacement for mirrors, side door mirrors, as a digital screen? And remember, there are cars out there like the Cadillac Lyric that doesn't have a physical glass or plastic rear view mirror. It has actually a digital screen, which if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, then I guess you don't like it. So if I guess your rear view mirror can be digital, I guess the same logic can apply to side door mirrors can be digital. It is cool. And it is helpful because you can actually probably see a lot more in your field of view. And then it can also be very illuminated so that you can see objects completely better. But for this car to have that feature, it is a really nice looking feature. And I really wonder how it will work. Now, you can't end off any Apple presentation or release without talking about privacy. In fact, this whole page looks one-to-one to an Apple privacy webpage, which I think is funny. You can't end it off without talking about privacy, which is good because why wouldn't you want data privacy for any of your products, your phone, your laptop, your AI, and even your car? Why wouldn't you want some sort of privacy in any of your smart devices? Now, we already talked about the privacy on the car, such as that everything on this car has on-device processing with its supercomputer because it's more than capable than handling, voice commands and just basically being agentic, everything localized to the car. Very impressive, very cool. And to my knowledge, nothing is ever forwarded to the cloud. So if you text your car, hey, come pick me up right now, that's not sent to a cloud, which is then sent to your car. So the cloud is a relay. That doesn't seem to happen. It seems that it's only sent to your car, which if that's the case, it's a completely peer-to-peer model, and it doesn't even seem to be centralized like how Signal, it's not peer-to-peer, it's actually centralized where it sends it, you send a message, goes to the Signal server, the Signal server sends it to the recipient. This doesn't even seem to be centralized. It seems to be actually peer-to-peer, which is really cool. But even if it was centralized, if you went down the Signal route where everything is end-to-end encryption and you take good care of your metadata, being centralized doesn't actually matter. But since this is peer-to-peer, I think that's even more impressive because there's no point of failure if there's the central server goes offline, whether temporarily or permanently. That doesn't affect using the car in any way. So if this is a peer-to-peer model, that is very cool. And it's also end-to-end encryption. I don't know about metadata control, but seeming that you're only talking to your car and you own your car, it doesn't really seem to be that important, especially if you properly encrypt it on the car and whatnot. I think everything should be fine. Now, here is probably the most important part of the video. This is my hot take. Now, I'm just going to have random visuals. These are the Robocar commercials that they have, which are pretty nicely well done. But as you can see, especially with this commercial, it's very appropriate for my talking point, is that when you really get to see this car for what it is, and I probably have to argue, you have to watch the 2-hour video of the whole explanation on the car to really understand where I'm coming from, is that as cool as this car is, you really have to think about who is this car for? Why was this car made? And really, I have thought about this, and it didn't really take me too long for me to figure this out, but I came up with the idea that this car is a luxury first, autonomy second car. Now, let me repeat that. This car is luxury first, and the fact that it can drive itself and navigate itself and do all these things, it actually came second. It's not the main selling point of the car. The main selling point of this car is that it's luxurious. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, obviously the whole point of this car is that it's autonomous. It has all these high quality sensors. It has 100+ sensors. It has all these things that really make the car drive itself and stand out compared to other cars like Teslas that use just camera vision based processing, and Waymo's that actually go the other route of using a combination of LiDAR and other sensors. And this car seems to be doing everything it possibly can to navigate itself, using all these high quality LiDAR, camera systems, audio systems, and everything it has. Even so, it's still not autonomy first. It literally is autonomy second. And let me explain why. So for me to explain this, I really need to dive into 2 points. There are features on this car, in every car, but we're going to talk about this car. There are features on this car that are practical and convenient. And we really need to remember both what it means to be practical and convenient. So to be practical, it means that it makes sense, but it has to make sense in a very specific context or mission. And that for this car is safety and efficiency. So it is practical that this car has very high quality equipment to use as much information as possible to make inferences so that it can navigate itself. So all the equipment we talked about, all 100 plus sensors, you might think it's excessive. To me, I think it's practical because not always is the more the merrier, but with the age of autonomous cars just barely coming out within the past decade, I would probably argue the more is merrier so that we know, limitations of a car. Obviously, 400 plus sensors on a car is probably very excessive, but we haven't done so yet. So we really should just think about, where is that sweet spot? Can we really, we use about 120 sensors right now. Can we cut it back to maybe 50 within the next 10 years? That answer is probably yes, but everything's brand new. So the fact that it uses so many sensors, I don't blame them for it. It is very practical. Another practical thing about the car is that it's made from the ground up, built and designed to have all this equipment. So you see this car, it doesn't look like a Waymo, which takes the existing Jaguar I-Pace and just retrofits all this equipment onto the car. No, this car, this Tensor Robocar, was specifically made and designed to have all this equipment. That's very practical. Okay. Now, to be convenient. To be convenient means the car has features that are not necessarily necessary in any way, but add to its ease of use, provide comfort, and are versatile in the amount of features it has. So, for example, this car has coach doors. The doors open up like suicide doors, I guess is the easiest way to explain it. Kind of like a Rolls Royce and every other luxury cars. It makes this car look very nice, but it's not necessary in any way. Another feature, the palm scan feature. I honestly like that feature a lot. I think this feature can be added to cars as a standard within the next, probably 20 years or so. Even not that it's hard to implement it to a car, but I just think that, it's a convenience feature. It's not gonna, make the car like 10x better or anything like that in terms of safety or anything like that or efficiency. It's just a nice feature to have. So that's a convenience feature. It's even more convenient than Tesla's, using your app, your phone app to unlock the car door and open the car door and do all these things. This is arguably a lot more convenient. The auto login feature, when you enter the car and it scans your face and it automatically loads up your profile, not necessary in any way. That's a convenience feature. Even though it can be implemented like Tesla's, where if you use, so for example, you have a robotaxi, the Tesla robotaxi in Austin that you hailed. As soon as you called the car and as soon as the car was registered to take care of your ride, it automatically would have loaded your Spotify, Netflix, YouTube accounts, all within your phone. Of course, the cloud is involved in doing that, and that forwards it to the car. But the point still stands. It could have done that. This Robocar could have at least went down that route, but no. It has to scan your face to load up your profiles and doesn't really seem to use your phone and any exchange of information for that, which is fine. But of course, that's what I'm talking about. It's a convenience feature. Talking to your car in any way, such as take me here, what is the weather, close the door, Grok on Tesla's is basically like this, but again, it's conversational AI. It's not agentic. I'd still say that Tesla's having Grok, it is a luxury feature, even though it is standard and built into the car. It is at the very minimum a convenience feature. It's not necessary in any way. But this Tensor Robocar has the ability to do all these things locally on device, which I would say is actually a convenience feature because it's not necessary to really be used locally on device. It could be cloud like Grok, but then you'd have to argue privacy and data retention and whatnot. So this is a convenience feature, but honestly, a good convenience feature that I do like. I honestly do wish Teslas were end-to-end encryption and data information transfer, and even having some sort of private Grok mode where it only uses some sort of secure environment that you can't tap into, which would be cool. But again, point still stands. These are convenience features, and they're also very much luxury features. They're not even casual convenience, such as Grok in your Tesla that is standard. No, that's casual convenience. All the things the Robocar has, that's pretty much some sort of luxury convenience. Honestly, this car has so many features that I am truly surprised that this car doesn't even have like a some sort of champagne fridge like how some Maybachs do, which is, of course, $200,000 car, and even more expensive cars have some sort of champagne feature in the car. But honestly, this car should have some sort of champagne fridge. This car is not complete without a champagne fridge. And I honestly could go on talking. I have a lot of talking points I did not cover about the luxury of this car, but this car has a lot of luxurious features, which is okay. It's nothing bad to have a car that is so luxurious or anything like that. But that's my point. This car is legitimately luxurious first and autonomy second, and we'll continue onto that with the autonomous part. So this car is trying to be as hands-off as possible, including driving, which is the most important part of any car, is actually driving the car. Which is why I firmly believe that despite having all these autonomous features, it is a luxury car. Let's go back to the coach doors. Now, a Rolls-Royce has coach doors. And everybody knows you're not supposed to drive a Rolls-Royce. You have someone else drive it, like a chauffeur. Now, this car, this Tensor car, takes that concept of an ultra-luxury car, like a Rolls-Royce, with all its features, and even how this car is designed and built. It even has a premium quality built into the car, such as these OLED screens, the leather, not the leather seats, but the microfiber suede chairs, seating. I think, I'm not really too sure. I think it's supposed to be high quality. Some other cars have them, like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, even some lower luxury cars like Lexus still has them. Some of them, not all of them. But even so, this car just has pretty good features. Wouldn't you say pretty luxurious? So you have a really nice car, such as a Rolls Royce, or even this car. Why drive it? You obviously need to have someone else drive it. It's just like everybody knows that. So you have this car, the Tensor Robocar, and it drives itself, and voila, it's honestly the same effect as a human driver. The car even has a personality like a human driver. You can text your car, and you can talk to your car just like a human chauffeur. So in a Rolls Royce and you have a chauffeur, you're out shopping and you want to be picked up right now, you either go to where the car is parked, or you call, or you text your human chauffeur to pick you up, right? This car, it's basically the same thing. You speak voice commands or send text messages to control your car just as you would instruct your human chauffeur on what to do. Now, I don't know about you, but this really is an ultra luxurious car. If you can text your car to do something for you, and you're not texting a human, you're texting an AI to do something, that is very, very luxurious. I know Teslas have, again, we keep going on Teslas and Grok because that's the closest thing I can compare it to. But again, Grok is a conversational assistant, and you can't text your car to do something like this agentic robocar. Now, the idea of ultra luxury is also seen in the amount of equipment this car is used. We already went over that. But it is true. It does have pretty precise equipment and pretty high quality equipment. Like, again, the 17 megapixel cameras, that's, to me, pretty high quality. Now, if for whatever reason you're not convinced that this is ultra luxurious, like a Rolls-Royce competitor, this really is a Rolls-Royce competitor. I'm not even kidding about that. We need to make up a fictional scenario for me to convince you that this is luxury first and autonomy second. So let's think about the Waymo I-Pace specifically and the Tesla Cybercab. Let's say you have both of them. You personally own both a Waymo I-Pace and a Tesla Cybercab. You can even say that they share the exact same driving equipment, such as the sensors and the NVIDIA chip from the Tensor car, and even the driving habits is the same. So imagine you have the Tensor Robocar, Tesla Cybercab, and the Waymo. They all have the same equipment as this Tensor Robocar, and they have the same driving habits. So whatever decisions this Robocar is likely to make, that is 100% one-to-one reflected in the Cybercab and in the Waymo I-Pace. Okay, now that we've laid out this hypothetical, what's the difference between the I-Pace and the Cybercab? You would just say it's the exact same car, just in a different car body, right? It drives the same, it has the same equipment. Like, what really is the difference? Well, let me tell you the difference. The difference between those two cars and the Tensor Robocar it's that it's just a screen. It's in the car where, actually, I messed that up. Sorry. The difference between the I-Pace and the Cybercab, specifically without involving the Robocar, is the screen. There's just a screen in your car where you can play music, watch movies, and tell it where to park and where to drive and whatnot. And you would say that the Waymo is a 5-seater and the Cybercab is just a 2-seater and whatnot. They're not that different. The I-Pace and the Waymo are not that different if they have the same equipment as this Tensor Robocar. Now, let's compare all of them, all three of them, the Waymo, the Cybercab, and the Tensor Auto. Now, what's the difference between just that the Cybercab and the Waymo just have a screen that you can put music on and watch a movie, right? Now, this Tensor Robocar, they all have the same equipment, they all drive the same, but which car has 4 OLED screens inside of them? The Robocar. Which car has several cameras inside of the cabin that is used to do various features, like do a Zoom video call and automatically load in your driver passenger profile by doing facial biometric scanning? This Tensor Robocar. Which car has a camera inside the trunk? And I'm not even kidding. Which car has a camera inside the trunk to let you know that you automatically, that you probably left something important in there that you probably needed at your destination? For example, you went to the airport, you put your luggage in the trunk, and you hopped out your car and you just went into the airport and you forgot your luggage. This car, I'm not kidding, will text you that you left your luggage inside your trunk, and it'll remind you to come back and come pick it up. I'm not kidding, this car can do that. Which car has a Palm ID scanner? Basic, but really, which car has a Palm ID scanner? This car. Which car lets you text your car like a human driver? This car. Which car hides away its pedals and steering wheel when you want to when you don't want to drive and you want L4 autonomy to take over? This car. And which car has the premium screens? Of course, the 4 OLED screens. This car, which again, Waymo doesn't have OLED screens and Tesla doesn't have OLED screens because having OLED inside your car is excessive, I would argue. But even so, this car has it. Which car has coach doors? This car. A 7.1.4 surround system that takes 1,000 watts to power. That's seen in the video. What car has that? This car. And again, all the 3 cars are made to drive the same, but yet the Tensor has remarkably a much more impressive display on paper. And that is true. It has a lot more luxurious features that the other 2 cars don't have. And as a first generation product, they really could have, I'm talking about Tensor, they really could have gone down the Cybercab route, which I really like this idea. Which is really, if you think about a Tesla Cybercab, it is a cabin on wheels that can drive itself. Same thing as the Amazon Zoox. I think that's an even clearer example of what I mean on a cabin on wheels that can drive itself. Now, what I mean about that is a cabin is just some sort of interior space, like a gondola. Like I would say, like that's a cabin. A cabin with seating that's on wheels. So a gondola on wheels that can drive itself. That's basically a Tesla Cybercab. That's basically the same shape and design as an Amazon Zoox. I think that's the even clearer example. Not that there's anything wrong with the cabin on wheels that can drive itself, but that's fundamentally what the Cybercab and the Zoox is. It's a cabin on wheels. Now, the Tesla Cybercab will cost about $30,000, hopefully $30,000. I honestly could see 40, but I honestly think it is $30,000. And that can be proven, but I won't really get into that. But there are videos and interviews that you can find and technical breakdowns that you can find that it is very plausible that the Tesla Cybercab will come out to be $30,000. Now, this is a first generation car that is very, very, very specific to the manufacturer, Tensor Auto, because it needs to house a lot of features, right? It has to house a lot of features outside the car, equipment, and inside the car, more equipment. Now, they really should have gone down this Zoox Cybercab route, autonomous cabin on wheels, because it seems to be really efficient to manufacture, but also easy to design, especially when you're talking about autonomous cars. There's not a lot you need to put onto a car. Obviously, you want basics like a screen, a sound system, AC, whatnot, but it shouldn't be that difficult. But this car has a lot of features that are unique to this car and this car only that makes manufacturing more difficult and very specific. That's the whole point. Now, how much will this car cost? Well, I honestly don't know. The Waymo I-Pace costs around $200,000 with about $60,000 or $70,000 going into the Jaguar I-Pace itself, and the rest is retrofitting the equipment on the car. And the more I look into this Tensor car, the more I really, 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 really can't get a number. Now, at the very, very, very minimum, this car will cost at least $200,000, matching what you get with a Waymo I-Pace. But at the same time, there's no way this car can cost $200,000 with all the luxurious features we talked about. So really, this car should be closer to around $300,000. But the problem at the same time is scalability. Because who really is going to buy this car and how many of these cars are going to sell? I don't know. But one of the main talking points in the 2-hour-long video explanation is that they want this car to have the same idea as a Tesla network, where you buy this car, the Tensor Robocar, and you can rent out this car to other people like a taxi. So if you have a Tesla Cybercab, or just like the Robotaxi in Austin, Texas, where you call a Tesla that will drive itself to you and take yourself to that destination. Of course, the Robotaxi is owned by Tesla themselves, but in the future, it could be owned by anybody. You own a Tesla, and when you don't want to use it, you put it out to the Tesla network. Someone can call it so that that car can drive itself to the client and then take that client to wherever that destination is. That car wants to do the same thing, but for a car that costs $300,000 potentially. I really don't know. You have to really think about scalability. I don't know anybody who's really going to buy this car specifically for the purpose of having a robotaxi fleet. I don't think that is really profitable at all. And even if that was a thing, you'd have to think about how much is the ride going to be. Well, I wouldn't know, but I imagine it would be on par with Uber premium prices, which are pretty expensive because you are paying for premium experience in a premium car and whatnot. So I'm pretty sure it will be the same thing. So this is a first generation $300,000 car potentially, which is at the same time an upcoming technology that is ever changing. You know, Tesla Cybercab hasn't even come out yet. But when the Tesla Cybercab does come out and you have a successor, there's obviously going to be some changes. And this projected right now is just a first generation product. And I have no idea what a second generation Tensor Robocar could look like, but it is something to think about. For $300,000, you could buy a really nice Mercedes Maybach or a Ferrari or anything else. But the problem really is why anything with scalability. So I don't know. I think it really is time to move on to my final thoughts. Now, this car, this Tensor Robocar, it really does it all. This car is just really, really, really special in the fact that, one, it's autonomous. Two, it has a lot of high quality equipment and features. Three, it's coming out next year. That's, I think, the biggest point. It is coming out next year with a price tag nobody knows about, but it is an ultra premium price tag for an ultra premium car, which is completely fine. But then we talked about practicality and convenience, and this car is just out there, to put it into simple terms. It seriously can't compete with the Cybercab. No way. Back to my cabin analogy. If you really want to make money in a robotaxi network, it's the cabin. My cabin analogy. Cybercab, Waymo, Amazon Zoox, especially the Amazon Zoox. That's like the perfect shape. It really is that route, not this ultra luxury route. Because this is a Rolls Royce that can drive itself. This isn't a Cybercab competitor. This is a Rolls Royce competitor. And I honestly argue a lot of good points with that, especially with how many moving parts this car has. The sensors that can clean itself, the pedals, steering wheel, screens that can move. There's a lot of features in this car. A lot of moving parts that are just going to add on to manufacturing, which is fine. If you can afford this car and you want this car, of course, all power to you. But to me, I'm just thinking about practicality in this car. This car just can't be it. It's a very cool car. But so far, this car just is a concept. To me, this is a concept, especially in this commercial specifically, because you have a car that can drive itself, that you can also drive because it has a steering wheel. If you wanted ultra luxury features, they're all there. They're all provided besides my champagne fridge, which I honestly argue this car really needs to have a champagne fridge. If it doesn't, missed opportunity. Maybe the Robocar 2 could have it. But even so, you have to be in a very specific position to want your car to do very specific things, like having really good screens inside, an AI that can talk forever, because it's agentic and conversational, and it can do a whole bunch of things on your behalf. But I honestly am just reiterating the same talking points. This car is just a glimpse into the future. Ultra luxury, autonomous car, 2030, probably looks something like that. Probably has all the same features, interior and exterior wise, with Carmoji. Even though something like Carmoji, I argue, should be standard in a lot of autonomous cars, just because it's a nice feature, or even some sort of light indicator for pedestrian or something else. Some other form of communication to pedestrians or cars or anything. Emergency services, anything. I argue that's a very necessary feature. That's nice to have in this car. So yeah, this car, very nice car, not a Cybercab competitor. I do need to talk about the Cybercab at some point in the future, because that car is a very attractive car. $30,000 to own a privately owned a autonomous car. Very cheap to manufacture, very scalable on the Tesla network. I honestly can talk about that for hours. But other than that, I think I am done with this video. There are a bunch of talking points I did not cover, such as, in fact, let me just show you really quick. Not that this matters, but it just reminded me of it, so I might as well talk about it. There used to be this AI called Pi AI. Also, this video is from this person. I think it's called Waymo Technology. If I mispronounced it, I'm sorry. But this reminded me of this defunct AI that doesn't exist anymore, that was very conversational and very emotional. And if you watch the video and if you look at, well, I guess it's mostly reflected in the video, especially at the end, where it turns out the narrator was actually the car itself, which I thought was a really interesting reveal. But other than that, that didn't matter. But this is an AI that was very conversational, very emotional. It was very friendly. It's like if your best friend was a very gentle person, and also transformed into an AI, I guess it would be that, specifically Pi AI, which again doesn't exist anymore. And then that really reminded me of the Robocar in the sense that at some point, your car will not become your best friend, but your car will become that human chauffeur in the Rolls Royce. And the point I'm trying to make is that in the future, even with your phone or even a smart fridge or a toaster, whatever it could be, a thermometer or a thermostat, is that at some point we're going to put AI into everything. Some make more sense into others, like having AI in your car that can talk to you. I guess it's nice, a nice convenience feature, not necessary, but I wonder how much AI will be put into just things overall, especially this AI, Pi AI, a model very friendly and similar to it, I think is probably the best route to have. And if I'm not too far off, I'm pretty sure the Tensor card will have an AI very similar to how this works. Not only agentic, of course, but I'm talking about how it talks and responds to you. I'm thinking that's how that car is really going to talk. So overall, I've overstayed my welcome in this video. I know I talked about a lot of things. I know this video is very long. I honestly had to make this video just to see, just to have fun, honestly, and just to see what a modern 2025 video would be on a topic I have not talked about before. But even so, in about, I don't know, in the near future, I'll make a new video that I've been wanting to make for quite some time now. And that video is going to be a very high quality video that I'm pretty sure I know I'm going to enjoy a lot, and I hope a lot of you will enjoy a lot too. It's a very special video. I won't give many details. Just know that I've been wanting to make it for quite some time. And now that I have, or I am doing it, well, it's just nice to do. So other than that, thank you for watching. If you had any ideas you would like to share, put them in the comments below. But other than that, thank you. And see you next time.